Hello, and welcome to On the Platform, where we're talking to the most influential and innovative thinkers in platform technology on the hottest topics and trends. My name is Mark Egner, Senior Manager at Accenture Security, where I lead our trust offerings for software and platform clients worldwide. And on the platform, today we're going to explore privacy, why it's at the top of the list these days, across industries, but especially critical now for our software and platform clients. I'm joined by David Cooper. Hey, David.
Hey, Mark.
North America privacy lead with Accenture and a thought leader in this space. I've had the pleasure of working with David from the earliest days of us trying to absorb the EU's GDPR, right? And talk with some of our first clients together about GDPR. So, David, thanks. Welcome to the program. Thanks.
Hey, Mark. It's good to be here. We've been at this a while, haven't we?
We haven't, seems like from the beginning, but it really isn't the beginning, is it, David? Privacy's been around a long time, right?
Yeah, it has. And in the U.S. it's been primarily sector based, but it has been an issue for quite a while.
But it's in the news now. It's blowing up everywhere. It's a really hot topic right now. Why is it? What's going on?
Well, I think there's sort of two issues. First, mobile services and cloud-based services are becoming much more ubiquitous for the everyday person. We're all using multiple cloud and social services for various things in our lives, and so the data that those services are generating has become more and more important to our lives, and tells a much broader story about who we are.
So is it just more people connected? Is that why this is a hot topic right now?
I think it's more people being connected. They're sharing more information, and what that is happening with that information has been expanding. And so, as consumer awareness increases, and you start to see stuff in the news about data breaches and the like, more and more people are starting to ask bigger questions about what exactly is happening with their information.
But I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about my pictures, my credit card numbers, my search history, right? I mean, those things, those are mine on a service. So what's the big deal?
Sure. So it's all that stuff plus a whole bunch more. Usage patterns of products and things can tell you a lot about a person, what they like, what they don't like, what they want to buy. And in many cases, yes, this data is your data, right? It's That's sort of a fundamental principle of privacy. But in practice, many users have given companies permission to slice and dice that data, share it, use it for other things. And they don't. In many cases, they don't even know they've done that. A lot of the stuff that's been happening recently in the news has prompted a kind of re-examining of what people are doing with their data.
And so is it that companies are doing something with my data to change it, or why again with privacy? How does it matter to me what a company does with your search history or your product access or whatever? Well, how does that impact me?
Right. Well, I'll give you a great example. So let's say that you've shared your phone location data with your home security company, and you've linked the home security devices with your connected home. And the idea is you drive home from work, you enter your house and the lights come on, right? That's an outcome you want, and you're perfectly willing to have your every movement tracked by your phone if that's what's going to turn the lights on in your house. You probably don't want the power company knowing where you are at any given time, or the smart home companies, right? So there's these applications of the data that have expanded beyond what you might have intended.
So it's more people, more connected, but it's also what they're now connected to. There's this richer context about my life that's winding up in this cloud or in a few companies' hands, I guess, right?
That's right. That's right. And many people are just uncomfortable with that. They aren't willing to. They don't want every big American companies to know that much about them.
And so what are our clients asking us for in this space? I mean, are they saying, come explain just that to me? Or when you and your team get engaged to talk to someone, what are you talking to them about?
So for our software and platforms clients, we're having a couple conversations. The conversation usually starts with a regulatory compliance question. And we very quickly want to change that conversation because regulatory compliance is important and we can absolutely help them do that. But we want to help them do that as part of a broader view on how they can use this change in consumer attitude, change in the regulatory environment to create competitive advantage. And so we want to help them design and implement their products and services in a way that give consumers the level of access that they want and the level of control that they want on their data without hampering the company's ability to use that data to either monetize it or use it to build better products and services.
And so they're asking for real product advice now. You're talking about starting with a regulatory discussion and moving quickly to how do they think about their products navigating these regulations and still performing, right?
Yeah, so it's a product. It's a business discussion, right? So it's a product discussion around engineering and using things like DevSecOps and building in privacy into DevSecOps and helping to kind of get it right at the beginning. But we're also having marketing conversations. We're having thought leadership conversations, helping the companies frame their stories to the marketplace as well. Because a lot of our clients are really good at building the product, and what they need our help with is kind of telling the story, whether it's to the consumer or to the regulator.
And so what are the scenarios ahead, David? I mean, is this going to get less complicated over time? Is GDPR going to fix everything, or is there a fix that's going to fix everything? What's ahead?
Yeah, so no, GDPR is not going to fix everything. But what GDPR is doing and what other regulations like it are doing is changing the way we view individual rights for data. And I think what you're going to see is the level of connectivity is only going to increase as technology growth expands. It's only going to increase.
We're only halfway through the world, right? There's only 50% of us that are actually connected to things right now, right?
That's right, right, exactly. So there's a massive growth opportunity there, and that's going to continue because you look, especially in the developing world, the way that connected smartphones have accelerated economic development in certain areas. I mean, it's remarkable. So that's going to keep happening, and that's a good thing. What I think is going to also happen in parallel is we're all going to start to continue to change our thinking about data as owned by the individual and as there needs to be a necessary individual control over that data. So you as a user need to be able to log into your various services, see the data that they have on you, adjust the data, delete the data, export the data, but ultimately have control of the data. And I think that's what our clients need a lot of help with, and that's what they're thinking about. A lot of our software and platform clients, like Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they've all really led the way in creating this kind of granular view of your data. A lot of our software and platform clients are asking us for that same kind of thing, and we're responding. We're helping with some of the technology there as well.
So what you're saying here is that we're actually being asked not just to think about how to express these regulations in a product, but by putting these capabilities in a product, I mean, by default, aren't these companies the ones who are setting the policy, so to speak? I mean, they're way out in front. Who's really driving this?
Well, I think it's a partnership. I mean, the regulatory bodies like in the EU have attempted to change the fundamental conversation, and a lot of companies in the tech space, like and Apple is probably the leader here. They've stepped up and said, "Yeah, we agree, and we want to make sure that we're doing this at the beginning with our product design." And the market is following, and so I think you're seeing a shift in the market for the better.
Yeah, yeah. So if we were all to go out and start a privacy conversation tomorrow, right, or maybe later today, depending on when you're hearing this, what is that first discussion? What should we all be able to have a conversation with our clients about in privacy?
I think the conversation comes down to, you mentioned this idea of trust, consumer trust in the way their data is managed and protected. So the question to your clients needs to be, how are you handling consumer trust regarding data? And that will spark a lot of conversation around data management, around quality, around security, product engineering functionality, like all kinds of, there's all different ways you can take that, but I think it really starts there.
Well, that's why it's why we put the word trust in place in these companies in this industry, right? It helps with a multifaceted discussion. So that's really cool.
Yeah, because we're not talking about security when we go talk to our clients. We're not talking about just privacy. We're talking about trust, and that means so much more.
Well, it's fantastic, David, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. We're about out of time, but it's really been great to have you on the platform today, David. So thank you.
Sure, always good to talk to you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks so much. And for all of you out there, thanks so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Please help us get the word out and be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review our series. Love to hear from you and hope you tune in again for the next episode of On the Platform.